Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Good morning. Yes, you are.
Thank you, Komal. Uh, on behalf of Dave Cluster, I welcome you all today for today's session, ApplaudHer 2.0. Dave Cluster is a group of tech enthusiasts who help and build a strong community and ensure that knowledge directly reaches the Goan public with ease. Today with us, we have our three speakers. Hillary Clinton once said, "Women are the largest untapped reservoir of the talent in the world." We couldn't agree more as we gather here today to appreciate women on the eve of Women's Day. In today's event, we have three women who have made mark for themselves in their respected fields and many to do so. Our three speakers for today are Ms. Raksha Nayak, Ms. Komal Kahlon, and Ms. Pradnya Desai. We also have with us from Brave Cluster, Ms. Sharaka. Sharaka, would you like to speak a few words?
Hi everyone, I'm Shalaka from DC and I've been here from the beginning of when we founded DC. The reason why we have these women events every year is so we kind of want to encourage all the girls out there and make them feel like they're not limited to what everyone has been set things out for them. You can always reach out and you can learn new things and achieve whatever you want. So, our point here is to help you discover new things and basically just come to know more that there are more opportunities out there. So, welcome everyone. I hope you guys have fun as well as learn something new. And yes, and we would love to have your feedback as well at the end of today's event so we can do something more interesting next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharaka. So, without much delay, let's get to our first speaker. Our first speaker is Ms. Raksha Naik. She has completed her bachelor's degree in computer engineering from Goa College of Engineering. She is currently working as a Salesforce dev at Persistent System Limited. She's actively delivered multiple talks on Salesforce before. She also enjoys singing and art. Over to you, Raksha.
Thank you, Riddhi.
Hi, Raksha. Welcome to DC.
Hi, Shalaka. Thank you. So, today an introductory session on Salesforce, and we are going to cover these key points. So, what is CRM? What is Salesforce? Organizes data, technologies used for development, and how Salesforce is better than other CRMs. And if time permits, I'll also give you a walkthrough of the Salesforce workspace. Moving on to what and hows, and as the golden circle suggests, I'll start off with why, or why a CRM. So I'll give you a very simple example. Imagine you are a salesperson and you sell your goods, and every day you get a lot of mails from different clients wherein they specify their requirements. One of such mails, the client has asked for, he has specified his requirements, and also he has provided his contact details. Call him maybe tomorrow at say 5 p.m. So the first thing that you'll do will be you'll save his contact details. You'll save his contact reminder or put up a sticky note on the board so that you don't calling him. So so imagine having such multiple clients mailing you every day. Don't you think it is going to be very tedious to keep track of all the requirements and store all the contacts, put up a reminders? Tedious, right? So this exact situation calls for a need of an application that will tackle this problem, and hence we have or so CRM is a concept. This is a company that implements the CRM. We can handle all these things like creating new tasks, saving contacts, keeping track of all the requirements, or putting setting a reminder from your system. All these things you can perform in Salesforce, and all this data is stored at one place, and you can access this from any device anywhere. This is an application of a Salesforce or a CRM. You guys have understood why we require CRM or a Salesforce, right? So moving on to what is a CRM. So CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. It allows us to manage relationships with customers and prospects. It tracks data related to the interactions. Screen now. Hello.
Yes, we can see.
This was the example. So you have mail and you save the contact and you put up a stick. And since you have to tackle all these things and very tedious to track all the requirements, you need a CRM or a Salesforce, which will implement at one place and you can access it anywhere. CRM, it stands for Customer Relationship Management. It allows you to manage relationships with customers and prospects related to the interactions. It helps team collaborate both internally and externally. Insights from social media, track important metrics, also communicate via email, phone, social, and other channels. So what is Salesforce? Salesforce is nothing but a CRM. It is a customer success platform. Software as a service, cloud, or on-demand CRM. So Salesforce stores our data securely in the cloud. Access to the database all the time, wherever they are. Importantly, the vendor takes all the responsibility for the seamless operation of the system. It is designed to help sell, service, market, and analyze. Standard products and features, you can manage relationships with prospects and customers. Provide standard products and features. Use them as is with little customization if required. So it provides all the necessary system updates and support. And upgrades are instantaneous in Salesforce. So Salesforce provides three main releases every year. There is summer release, winter release, and spring release. This without human intervention, the releases get applied to your all Salesforce. So some of the reasons why you may like Salesforce: develop from scratch. So as I mentioned, Salesforce provides features and products, and you can use them as is with little as per requirement. You like to dive into a customer's business, backend and front end development. So in Salesforce, we work on both front end. So let's see how Salesforce organizes its data. So this is very important to understand how our data is stored in the cloud. So data is in Salesforce is mainly stored in fields and objects. Is like a table in the database. For example, there are accounts, contacts. If you consider a spreadsheet, then an object will be a tab on a spreadsheet. So the fields are a place where you store a value or address. So here you can see account name, close date, amount, opportunity name. So these are some of the examples of fields. Fields will be a column, and something called as records. Records are items that we are tracking in our database. These are the data that we store, the user data that we store. If your data is like a spreadsheet, then a record will be a row. So this is regarding the development. So technologies used for development are so server-side programming. We use something known as Apex. Apex is very much similar to Java. Any of y'all know Java or are working on Java, then learning Salesforce easier for you guys. For front end, we use something known as Visual Force. It's a tag-based markup language, and we also use web technologies like HTML, CSS. And we have SOQL and SOSL. Salesforce object query language. It is quite similar to SQL, and SOSL is a search language, Salesforce object search language. These are some more things about Salesforce. So Trailhead is a Salesforce learning platform. Are different modules, and these are known as trails. An ultimate guide if you want to learn Salesforce. So you can log into trailhead.salesforce.com, and it will all the learning modules. I'll show you how it looks like. So this is Trailhead, and there are different modules. You everything right from how to create an account and how to log in to Salesforce, how to create your own instance, and everything is on this. So, and on completion of these modules, you also can fetch points and badges. Only meant for motivational purpose, and if you are planning for Salesforce certification, you also need to do these some of the maintenance modules. So regarding the environments in Salesforce, For the students who might not be knowing what deployments and how they work, I'll explain you in a very simple terms. So there are three main Salesforce. There is development, there is UAT, which is meant for testing, and there is production. So a developer builds their code in the development or dev environment. So once it meets the requirements, it is pushed to UAT. Certified QAs or the testers, they test the code. Looks good, they push it to production, and this production environment is made visible to a wider audience for the end users to use. So these are three main environments. Why environments in Salesforce as well? There is classic and lightning. So the major difference in both of these is the UI. So more better UI experience, and it is also higher in. It also provides more security. So recommended editor for coding is the VS Code for Salesforce. So let's see how Salesforce is better than other CRMs. Scalability and customization. Salesforce not only does take care of businesses' present requirements, but needs. So Salesforce has the capacity and ability to scale up. And not only is Salesforce scalable, but nice to fit the unique business requirement. Multi-tenant architecture. So this means that Salesforce instances share common platform and space in cloud. Performance does not vary between larger or smaller clients. Every business client, big or small, has the advantage of one infrastructure and one platform. Updates and upgrades are instantaneous, and it does not require customer intervention. So security is very crucial, and Salesforce has pre-installed security features that allow business owners to decide who within their organization can access their data. As for security model, they have something known as permission sets and profiles. So when you learn more on Salesforce, you'll understand these terms more better. Advantages of Salesforce cloud apps. So Salesforce has different cloud offerings like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, feature-packed, tools-loaded platforms. Walkthrough of Salesforce workspace. This is my Salesforce instance. It is also known as org or organization. Provides us. These are known as S objects. And if you want to or use the settings, Salesforce settings, the setup will provide you with object manager, wherein features that Salesforce provides. When you go to object manager, you can see all the S objects, the standard objects that Salesforce provides. There are assets. So these are the S objects, and you can also create your own objects here. How it looks like. So in the standard objects, they also provide you with standard fields. The standard fields, and you can also create your own new field here. And for you can console. Actually, it is recommended to use a text editor, the VS Code used um, earlier. This platform was used earlier, so you can create new classes. You can also add your query here and fetch the data. Salesforce also provides us with different apps. These are feature-packed products. So there is Sales Console, CMS, and these are all the objects. About App Exchange. App Exchange is like a Play Store wherein you get pumps and it also provides you to update your own custom component so that it is made visible to a wider audience. So this is how it looks like. Yes, so that's it from my side. You have any questions? Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Raksha. There's a question in the chat section for you. Rohan has asked you, do we have to work on the same servers as WAMP server or XAMPP, SOCL, also that database management?
Actually, in Salesforce, everything is hosted in the cloud. So all the data is hosted in the cloud. So you can either use for your queries, you can either use developer console, or there is something known as workbench, in which and there you can hire your. I'll just show you. It provides you with all the S objects. You have to choose the S objects and the fields. It fetches you all the data. You can as well add the filters and the number of rows. Does that answer your question?
Rohan, you can unmute yourself if you have any queries, or probably, yeah.
Any other questions?
Uh,
Is that a no?
if y'all has any question, y'all can drop it in the box, or even y'all can unmute yourself.
Looks like there are no more questions from you.
Thank you so much, Raksha. Okay, there's a question for you in the chat.
Yes, Trailhead platform is free. All you need to do is log in and you can start using it.
Thank you so much, Raksha. It was really a very informative session. I'm sure everyone must have got very interested in Salesforce. Thank you so much for taking out your time and giving us this wonderful insights.
Thank you, Ritu.
Our next speaker for today is Ms. Pradnya Desai. She is a B.Pharm from PS College, Farmaguri. Was a short stint at Cipla Pharmaceuticals. She's a content creator at BYJU'S. She actively delivers seminars on yoga and adolescent health to schools and colleges. You all will be surprised to know that she's also a certified yoga instructor. Over to you, Pradnya.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Am I audible? Great. Yeah.
Yes, Pradnya, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you so much, Riti, for that beautiful, intro to me. Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Pradnya Desai, and Riti has already introduced me. So I'm a content developer at BYJU'S, as you all know, and I mainly deal with chemistry and general science. So I'll just I was supposed to do a presentation, but I thought maybe we can have it, we can make it more interactive. If you all, have questions in between, you all can definitely unmute yourselves and ask me questions as I go through it. So I'll give you all a gist of what my day looks like in my work life. So it starts with, say, supposing we have a concept or a project that we are working on, like any concept for that matter in chemistry, something like uh, I take electrochemistry or something like that. So basically, what we start with is like we point out whatever we need to do. We make like a condensed thing, and then you have like a pre-production, production, and a post-production script going on. So basically, our work is like scripting it. Then we make short videos and we get them approved. So we have like a team, but the team is definitely not just content developers. It's like a team of L&Ds, content developers. We have the tech people coming in, whether for it to get approved or not, and a lot of filtering and auditing goes on. And it's not just one team which is working on the concept, right? It's like multiple teams working together on a single concept. So yeah, so this is the gist about what I do in the day. Let's begin with what we all I hear for the EdTech, the big word. I mean, during the pandemic, we were all forced to move online, and especially students. I know how you all load this because of no practicals and all of that. But yeah, so let's. So how? What do you all think about how this has got better? You all can unmute yourselves. I know there are students also over here. What do you all think about what your teachers had to struggle with, or how this has gotten better? or anything, any creative side that y'all have seen with, you know, the online thing. And then I'll definitely continue. Anyone? Anyone on how y'all like the whole online teaching thing? I think I heard someone, yes. Anyone from professional colleges or whatever, yeah, higher secondary or anything. Okay, let me just continue. Okay, let's do a comparative analysis of like edtech, and let's do a classroom situation. So basically in an edtech, when we have a concept or anything that we need to explain or that we need to put forward, so as I told you what all it goes through, and then we also, okay, the explanation part, we make the L&Ds go through something called as demos and presentations. Like uh, it's basically like how they are going to explain in their setmos or in their live sessions. So this happens with subject experts. This happens with L&Ds as well as with our normal tutors as well as. And then we are also divided into sections. Like we have something such as below K5. That's basically like, what do you say, first, second, third, fourth. And then you have K10, that's still 10 standard. Then you have K11, K12. And of course, a separate team completely altogether for JE mains, then JE advanced or NEET. So this is what or something like UPSC exams or CAT, CMAT. So completely different teams for that. This is what I'm speaking about is in terms of my company. But yeah, on a general basis, like how EdTech handles a concept or anything goes through a lot of filtration or a lot of auditing as compared to when you come to a classroom situation. Over here, you will have like one teacher, or maybe, you know, in a school, let's say, supposing we have science or we have something like commerce. You'll have three professors for it, and then it goes on like you do not get to select your professors, of course. The faculty and the staff selects it for you, like randomly selects it for you, and you have it. And then you're obviously sitting on the last bench, first bench, you're paying attention or not, and they're all physical classes, right? So we very well know that there is no flexibility because you have to attend the lecture over here. You have to put up with the professor whatsoever. So over here, EdTech comes in and you have the flexibility as well as you get to choose. Okay, say supposing you are dealing with one particular tutor or one particular L&D or subject specialist. You do not like, not about not liking, maybe you do not understand the concept, right? So, but the next time, so you are no more attached. You are no more attached to that teacher or obliged to, you know, attend the same thing. You can just mention it to your mentor, because we have this whole thing where you will have your personal mentors. Mention it to your mentor and you just get it changed. And it's not even about mentioning it to your mentor. You will not get the same tutor or the L&D specialist again. So yeah, so this is about how we work with the whole changing frame. So you don't have to stick with one person. So obviously there's no favoritism, there's no last bench thing or first bench thing coming over here. And because we are such a versatile team, because it's not just okay, I'm from BCom background. Whom I'm working with are like computer engineers. I have pure science. I have PhD students. Then the L&D specialists are from NITs, IITs. It's like a whole different what do you say? You know, people coming from different backgrounds, different states, and different backgrounds. I mean, education backgrounds coming together and trying to solve an idea or trying to put forward a concept. So this makes it even more. This whole amalgamation of ideas makes it even more efficient, is what I feel, and is what I've seen as well. When we even when we have dealt with students, sometimes students get really curious and they'll come up with something. And say supposing there was a session where we had this whole astronomy thing, so students can get really curious and they can ask you so many questions, and you can't say no to them, because here what we are trying to do, of course we are sticking to the concept and content, but we are also trying to get them curious so that they don't feel, okay, this is what the textbook has said, this is what we need to know. So edtech is more not just about understanding the concept, you know, it's not about understanding the concept anymore. It's more like you understand it, and now you're going to apply it for your next jump. Now let's consider something like upgrad or higher education platforms for your masters, or after your bachelor's or anything. So all these platforms are more what do you say, driven towards forming a to give you the next jump sort of thing. Maybe you're already working, so again this thing comes in. So you are working plus you're doing your education, so you don't have to compromise on anything. You're getting your work experience as well as the thing. And the best part about this is that whoever you interact with, it's not going to be from your state, not even, maybe not even from your country. And the people who are over there might have had much more experience than even decades of experience is what I've seen. And sometimes even have their own company. So it brings in a lot of perspective in the same room, is what I feel, according in the whole EdTech thing. Then again, if we compare, if I'm again going back to the whole what do you say, school education thing, I feel because we have visual games, videos, concept explanation, and we also have these live videos going on all the time. It's basically like you need to book a live video or a doubt session and you will have it. So there are many types in it. There is one to one, there is one to more. Then there are, of course, there are recorded sessions which are called as premium sessions. These are pre-recorded sessions. And in this as well, what we do is we do not try to explain everything as such as possible. We try to take in like small chunks, maybe two concepts are being explained, but with that we'll try to give you something like a crossword puzzle, or there's a quiz happening, and there'll be like questions that are being sent in. So yeah, and in the meanwhile, there is a live thing going on, stream going on at the side, where you can ask your doubts right there, and there'll be tutors at the other side of the screen answering to you, catering to you live. So yeah, this is about it, I feel. And then the more, what do you say, if it gets even better because as Raksha just mentioned about Salesforce, we use Salesforce, we use big data analytics to, why is this used again for customer relationship? So we know step to step how is the customer using the app or the website or the blog that we have, like how it's going, how whether we can make help them out with it, make it more efficient. So it becomes like a very monitored process again, so we can always help them out and give them feedback about how it can go. So yeah, that's all. Okay, and another thing is that we have this new thing coming up. It's called the discussion room, basically. So discussion room is basically okay, say supposing some academic session has happened, so it'll be more than that. You can come and ask about uh, your doubts, something more than the textbook. So it's like a free open discussion room, and there's nothing such as what do you say, you need to stick to the topic, or it should be from the textbook only. So yeah, there's like an open discussion, and you'll have like one or two L&Ds or even a content developer over there, and like catering to your questions and like freely talking to you. Yes. So yeah, I think, I think I've covered up quite a lot. I would really love to have some questions if anyone has any questions. Yeah, okay. Okay, I just mentioned, okay, I got the question over here. So I had just mentioned about upgrad and how it works for higher education. Yeah, someone wants to say something? Yeah. Okay. So about its higher education policy. So I personally had checked it out, I think so 2 months back or something. So they have this whole thing going on where they have tie-ups with universities directly, like Narsi Munji or all of these institutes. So you become an alumni with them. So basically, they are providing you the networking. They're providing you. You will be an alumni offline, online, or all the way, or the alumni, as well as. So it's basically on you. How are you going to capitalize this? Like, how are you going to use it after this? So even I have even seen this whole program where there were two universities that had tied up for one program. So you do your half of the program in this, some 8 months or something, and then 6 or 7 months in this other university. But you basically become an alumni of both the national as well as international universities. So it was a tie-up between a national and international university, which is great, I feel, according to me, because I mean, come on, you're doing a degree, you're becoming an alumni, that too of two universities, which means you're getting best of both worlds. So yeah, and how you cap on this is definitely on you. And yes, and as much as I want to say like edtech is amazing, we can I feel edtech is not here to replace the whole system. It's more like to become it's more to improvise and increase the efficiency of the already existing conventional education system to what do you say, improve the education standards. So basically, when we will get back to the normal, which I hope we will. So the normal that will be, it won't, that normal will be something like, I don't think we'll go back to completely going back to schools or colleges or like office. It's going to be in between. So it's going to be like a high, if you consider edtech, I would say like it would be like a hybrid of the edtech and the conventional system, because obviously going to school is not only about education. It's a lot about interpersonal skills, how you interact with your friends, your teachers, how you socialize, all of that comes in. So yes, I would say that at the end it should be like a balance in between. And because of edtech, again, if I would like to throw some light on the rural and urban education gap that we have. Because of edtech, I feel we've seen even in Kashmir, like girls go ziplining, across the river, just because they have this passion to study, to educate themselves. So I feel uh, if you have so much of zeal to do something, and if edtech can help you in this, I feel there's nothing bad in it. Go, like, of course you can use it, and maybe not completely depend on it, like but you can have like a whole balance thing going on. Maybe 2 days or 3 days you go to school, or 4 days you go to school, or you have smart classrooms all together. And on days when you can't make it, or there's something wrong, like say supposing something in Kashmir or something like that, you can take an online class, a pre-recorded class, or a live class happening. So all you need is like good internet, and I feel, yeah, what do you say? Yeah, devices or something. Yes. I think I've spoken quite a lot. Okay, I have another question. Do we have more opportunity in data analytics in BYJU'S? Okay, as there is lots and lots of data and it should be handled well. Yes, definitely, Rohan. Yes, I just mentioned about big data analytics and also IoT. Yes, we do use it, but I don't know at what extent, but yeah, we of course we do use it. So yes, there's a lot of data out there, and it needs to get organized, and data analytics is like the next thing sort of thing, because you need to be told, like, okay, maybe you have free courses online, you have everything on YouTube and all of these platforms, but you don't know which are the best ones. That needs to be filtered out. So yes, data analytics has a big scope, and yes, BYJU'S too has opportunities for data analytics, definitely. For higher education courses, we use more of data analytics than lower thing. Yes, I think. Any more questions? Anyone about anything? About EdTech or anything? Yes. Hello. Like, y'all can ask me questions. You can unmute yourselves or something.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question.
Sure, sure.
Like you said that the EdTech community or the EdTech entire revolution is not to replace the existing education system, but to assist it and enhance it. So what will
Yes.
be the role of the formal teachers who are currently in the education industry? What will be their role in this when you are also trying to assist them?
Okay, great. Okay, see, let's think about a child. Okay, like, see, EdTech is, again, it's all about education, and schools are not completely about education. It's also about value system inculcation, socializing, and all of that. Here, you need people. How much ever we might go into tech, the gap, the physical presence, that gap we cannot, what do you say? Uh, fill it up by using edtech is what I feel. So you need a teacher, and if you're saying formal education, like the teachers, of course you need a presenter, you need someone to cater to them all the time, to mentor them. So yeah, I feel they are a part of the whole system. There is no discarding them. There are no robots coming in and teaching them, because whatever it is, the human touch will always be required. So yes, not I'm not just saying on the emotional level or just socializing, but like even like teaching, presenting a concept, being a smart classroom is great, but you need a teacher or someone like to guide you through the thing, because it's very easy, like say supposing our company has this whole tablets and laptop thing, and say supposing the kid is in something 6th, 7th or 8th or something like that. So over there, you need to monitor the kid, because okay, maybe our tablets do not have any. You can't download easily any other things, and it's a bit regularized, and you can do that thing with it. But yeah, obviously you'll keep getting notifications from something or the other. So that needs to be monitored or regularized by someone who's elderly, or parents or guardians or teachers. So that will be always needed. I don't think that can be done by a robot, or value system can be inculcated by technology. That comes in from the home, from the teachers, all of that.
Yeah, thank you, Pradnya, for your answer. Just
Thank
like
you so much.
I have an additional question to that. Is like initially when there was Khan Academy and we had Google Classroom, the role of the teacher was important because the teacher was the one who would add the courses or add the content what the students are supposed to watch. So with this new edtech players like BYJU'S, is it a similar situation where teachers have still a responsibility towards BYJU'S as well as towards the students?
Definitely, I feel definitely, because see, we definitely, okay, now let's consider my company only. We definitely have videos, we have pre-recorded videos, all the things happening right there. Even our doubt sessions, those are also recorded. We can definitely put on those recorded. But we have a huge team of L&Ds dealing with separate subjects and complete. Why do you think we still have them? I feel that answers it all, right, Devansh? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Anyone? Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question.
Hi, Nitu. Yes, definitely.
So my question for you, Miss, is that the thing is that BYJU'S or any other tech education company works from ground down. Like you start from someone who's mature enough for thought and reasoning rather than working through kindergarten levels.
Correct.
Now, may I ask a question that why isn't another way around, so that we can work on the entire holistic nature of issues that people are afraid of speaking in polite society, the way we are taught ki aise nahi baat karte, especially for women.
Okay. I did not quite get you. Like, I'm so sorry. Can you just like frame this again for me?
Like, for instance, the behavior that we are taught at a kindergarten level. We are not taught how to behave ourselves, especially as girls, that you don't mess with your skirt, you try not to get stains, you behave like this, whereas you see boys wrestling pretty much in the mud. And it starts at a kindergarten level. I'm saying that after civilization is where companies want to entertain an educated society. And I'm not just saying BYJU'S, I'm living in the States and I'm working with a company here. But it's just that there is no company that works at a behavioral level from the bottom up. It's always a top-down approach when it comes to age.
Correct. Yes. Okay. Maybe I can't give you like I can't be like, no, we don't do this or we do this or something. But I think around
I'm not accusing you, ma'am.
around the month back.
I don't see you as a representative of your company.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Neetu.
I don't see you as a representative of your company. I see you as a person
definitely
of her own volition.
Yes. What I wanted to say is that, okay, here I know that you're not talking about my company, but maybe a month back we had a whole workshop where we were trying to understand child psychology. Basically, it wasn't for us; it was for the tutors. But yeah, of course, whoever wanted, it was open for everyone. So I feel it's a new thing. we are all trying to understand, and education has always been like this thing, everyone's trying to come up with the best thing. I remember we had this whole discussion where we were trying to adapt some of the, what do you say, the Korean education system and how it goes. We're trying to learn about it, not adapt as such. So yeah, we are trying to explore and trying to understand many things over here. So even when we did this whole child psychology, what do you say, workshop with L&Ds and content developers, whoever deal with students, even our mentors directly.
I work in a
Yeah, we
therapy-based
are also trying to
profession.
get into it. Sorry, Neetu. I'm sorry.
I was saying that I work in a therapy-based profession for
Okay.
children. I work for a legal firm.
Great.
And what we do is with adopted children that have been through a cycle of abuse in their native countries and then have gotten adopted, we help with that. And most of them come from Asian countries. In fact, in US, they are very reluctant to adopt in Indian children because even Japanese people where sexism is high, people are highly reluctant to adopt children. They might as well adopt Russian ones.
Okay. That's new to me. That's but amazing work there, Neetu. Yeah, so I feel we should just give it an opportunity. Like it won't happen at one go, right? Here we are. Of course, EdTech it's not like a new
The
thing.
reason why I don't visit back home in India is because I read in newspapers when 5-year-old kids are being raped, especially
Definitely.
girls.
Yes. Okay. So if this is about girls and telling them that, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do mischief like the boys, or you can't be brash like the boys or something like that. So no, of course I'm not a supporter of all this, but yeah, of course we are getting into all of this, but not like completely. We're trying to understand child psychology, and really we do not think of any student as a girl or a boy. We just think of them as student, and what curiosity they have, and how to get them out there and get them talking and not make them feel judged for anything that they're coming out with. That is what we try at our best, because I have taken setmos myself, and I feel because of the screen thing, which makes it like anonymous, they feel really free, and they even like after the session or something where we have 5 to 10 minutes, or sometimes we even have more time if it's a discussion room or something, they really open up and they're not worried about what their classmates or what the teacher will think about them after this is said, is what I have seen myself. So I feel that the whole anonymity thing also helps quite a lot over here for them to open up, not just with their doubts or anything with the concepts, but even otherwise. Yes.
I believe so. Thank you.
Thank you. Neetu. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. I've completely, I'm thinking like it's my company running out. L&D means learning and development, basically. Yeah, and then there is learning and development
Ma'am, I
specialist.
understand.
Sorry.
I said I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So learning and
Oh,
development.
no, you're well.
Learning and
Seriously, you're well.
Yes. Anyone else? Any questions or anything? Yeah. I hope, Siddharth, if you're here, I have answered your question correctly, or is you're like satisfied with the answer I've given.
Anyone of y'all have any doubts, y'all could unmute yourselves or drop in the chat. I think Pradnya would be really happy to answer them. Also, Pradnya, if you could put light upon if there are any job opportunities with respect to engineers in BYJU'S or some edtech platforms related to that.
Definitely. So I just said how our team like cross works, right? Of course, we have opportunities in L&D and what do you say? Content development. I don't really think right now there are any opportunities, But yeah, there might be some openings for the tech part of it. I'll have to look into it. And data analytics, definitely there are opportunities over there. And anyone who knows to handle Salesforce and all of that. I'll have to look into it. If anyone wants to personally, you can definitely ping me or something.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Anyone else you want to ask Pradnya anything? Okay, yes, thank you, Pradnya. Thank you so much for your wonderful insights into EdTech. We really
Thank you.
got to learn a lot about BYJU'S and the industry as a whole. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Riddhi. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Next up, we have Ms. Komal Kahlon. She's BTech from Manipal Institute of Technology. She has a master's in design from National Technology of Design, BLR. She has a short stint at IISc, BLR, and Adobe. She's an experienced designer at Wipro. She's an active public speaker, and her hobbies include painting and art. Komal, you can take over from here.
Thanks so much for the introduction, Riddhi. So today I'm just going to talk about exploring design. So please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, Komal, you can see your screen.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start with my journey, and my journey started basically when after 10th I was bored and my mom put me in for classes for coding and to learn Photoshop. And that's when I realized that taking black and white photos and then just masking them and recoloring them was fun. And that was a good enough pastime. I went off to do my engineering at Manipal and I did internships and all, but I never really had any passion for engineering. What I instead enjoyed was the other things which I did over there. For example, I was designing posters for ISD, posters and certificates like these, which now I look back on and I'm like, those were really bad designs. But at that point, this was the first time I was designing for someone and trying to figure out, how they wanted something, what they wanted. And later, just because I knew how to use Photoshop, I got a chance to work on magazines and to create those. And that's when I realized that this is something which I do want to do for at least the considerable future. And I got into design. And I decided now it's time to actually formally study it and not just rely on one tool which I had learned. So while I might have joined the course which was called Digital Game Design, what we did or what we got to learn and explore wasn't just related to game design. We had opportunities to make physical models and complete stories. For example, in this picture, it was a group of two of us who had created two characters, one out of a normal ballpoint pen and the other one out of an international socket. An international socket is the adapter which you use to connect, say, your laptop charger to the socket in the wall. So we created this entire story that they're going to crash land here, then they're going to do this, and then they're going to do this. And we created the entire board for it. So this was something we did in a week. Then another week we were doing 3D modeling of different kinds. Another week there was concept art. Another week we were in Unity trying to implement something in AR VR. So it was an opportunity where we could explore every single thing. There was cinematography, audio, sound design, a lot of different things. And this was also the time I got to work on some specific projects. For example, there was one project which was with IISc Bangalore, where the idea was that we've got an experiment which is running for rats, where we are seeing how they are able to understand spaces and how they are able to navigate them and remember them. And that experiment was going well, and there was a complete formula and everything which was being validated over there. But then the thought came that, can we expand whatever we've done to cover humans also? Would it be something that's possible? So you can't exactly take a human being and put them in an arena and tell them to go dig. So you have to find some sort of a medium. So we found the medium of games. What if it is all, through a laptop? You are basically put onto one side and then you start exploring. You've got similar starting knowledge as what the rats had when they started. And then would you be able to find the things? Would you be able to do it? And it got past the initial testing stage and the results were good, which meant that the entire formula worked, the theory was sound. After this, I also got a chance to work on a project for e-government foundation, where so nowadays whenever you go out and you find something's not going well, for example, the road has potholes in it, or a traffic light isn't working or something, there are all of these different apps which you can use in order to submit a grievance saying that at so and so place this isn't working. And then that grievance goes to whatever the local body is, and over there it gets assigned to someone to take care of it. Now, taking care of all these grievances isn't the only job these people have, but it's also the one job which is kind of the most public facing. So the idea was how to make them interested in doing this job and to reward them for doing this job. So we came up with an entire gamified system for it, and then we expanded it to say that for the other stakeholders, these should be the things which are there. So, for example, someone who's got a basic education and is working in the government may not really understand, or even if they understand what points are, that might not mean much to them. But on the other hand, if you say that it's a clap, you're getting claps for doing something. A tali is something which is understood throughout more commonly. So we looked at all the people and we looked at how we could make the system help them. Then I worked at Adobe for 6 months, where I was creating a help framework. So the idea was that there are all of these different products, but we want to have one sort of a universal help that flows through all of them. So what came in the end was basically a framework of ideas which said that, while everything's going on at this point of time, we could give this sort of a prompt to a user to give them this sort of a help. For example, when say they are in Adobe Analytics and they are seeing how well the keywords are doing, they could try and change different parameters over here, and that would show them how their rating and other things would change. For example, it could recommend better keywords to them. So all of these different projects which I've done were completely different from each other. It was a complete exploration. And when I joined NID, the same batch contained anyone from a 20-year-old to a 30-year-old from all sorts of backgrounds. They were people who had come directly out of engineering. They were people who had, done multiple degrees before they turned up. There was someone who had done journalism. There was someone who had done their MBA before coming. There was someone who was interning with NASA before they came. And it was a very diverse group of people. And again, now when I'm working with Wipro, it's a very diverse group of people who specialized in different areas of design. But we are all working together on different projects and bringing our own viewpoints to them. Now, in design, there is something called UX design. So UX basically stands for user experience. And while commonly it is thought that UX always goes hand in hand with UI and it's all digital, that's not the case. UI is user interface design. UX is basically the entire process of designing, and the aim is to make things which are useful, which are easy to understand, which are easy to use, and easy to interact with. So it is taking whatever sort of an experience your user is having with your product from the minute they hear about the product till they've used it, they've kept using it. Maybe they've uninstalled it also if it's a digital product, or if it's a physical product, they stopped using it. What have they done post that? Have they done anything about it? All of these different things come under UX. Now, you might be wondering, what's the process for doing design? Specifically, what's the process for doing UX design? You're going to find a lot of things online which say that this process works very well, this process works. But to be honest, there are no fixed processes. Every designer creates their own process depending on whatever they have done up till now and whatever they see other people doing. So when it comes to me personally, my process has a lot of research in it. I want to try and understand what are the motivations of my user. I want to understand what is the sort of ecosystem I'm looking at. How many different people are there in it? Can I apply gamification? Would gamification help improve whatever solution I'm building? So at this point, I would like to show you some of the tools and different things which we could do while while trying to do a UX design. And for that, I would just, yeah, I would just take up this problem statement of how do we directly connect women artisans to consumers. It's something which right now is sort of, you could say, an important topic, with the more recent emphasis on Make in India, and with the fact that we don't really connect with people who are doing local handmade work, and we tend to mostly buy things from branded shops and everything. Is there any sort of a way in which you can connect these women artisans to consumers? Now I'm going to be switching to Miro, which is one of the tools which we use for collaboration. At this point, if anyone has any doubts, please ask them while it's going on itself, be it a doubt about the process, be it a doubt about the tool I'm using. So in this case, I started off with mind mapping. In this, it's just a simple matter of whatever you can think of with respect to the problem statement. So if anyone has any suggestions of something which I can add to this, feel free to give them. So the idea in mind mapping is to have any sorts of thoughts and connections related to it. For example, one of my thoughts was, which sort of a format can I go into when I'm trying to do this? So then I looked into what are the possible physical formats, what are the possible digital formats. And when you're doing this, there are a lot of times when you end up repeating things. And repetition isn't exactly bad, because it shows that one point coming up again and again means that that point is actually important. It's something that, is sticking out again and again because it's something that is needed. So any suggestions for anything I can add to this mind map? Any sort of suggestions whatsoever? Anything you can think of with respect to how you can connect women artisans with consumers? Or anything that you can think of with respect to women artisans, or maybe what consumers are thinking?
Hi, Komal, Nee here. So one thing that I'm constantly thinking is how can women artisans add to diversity now that it's a pretty much global advertisement issue for most firms,
Right. Um,
and also the portrayal of the different definitions of women that the world around us has seemed to be developing.
okay, that's great. So I could follow another thought which said that from here I'm going to what are women? And
Like
under
without
this,
Disneyfying my dog.
how could we define them? Um, what sort of diversity is there? Disneyfying or playing into stereotypes? So any sort of thoughts like these can be added over here to the mind map, and that helps you figure out where you sort of are going next. And a design process is never exactly linear. It's not that you'll create a mind map once and then never look at it again. You could probably do 3 4 more steps and then come back to this and be like, okay, I want to simplify this, or I've decided I'm going to focus on a specific part, so let's see if we can make the mind map also focus on this specific part. So another thing that could be done is figuring out who all are actually there in the process. So I've put in some people who are there over here. For example, the most important person is going to be the woman artisan, because we are looking at them. And that's someone who is an informal individual. Similarly, in this entire process, there's also the government. There are also the banks and the unions and the co ops. And all of these different players are basically there when you're looking at the entire question of how currently women artisans are being connected to the consumers. Or in the future, how could we connect them? Are there some people we could remove? Are there some people we could add? So, could you think of any sort of a person who you would add over here? Um, it could,
So
yeah,
I will. It's just an example, but I'm one of the people that works for an organization that deals with adoption in the United States of children from different countries that are below poverty lines or are from bad, quote unquote, adoption houses.
right.
And one of the things that I do in my specific role is that I'm one of the mediators for the said children.
Mm-hmm.
Like I send the observation of them with their foster families, and or I spend time with those children alone and ask them different kinds of questions to determine whether they're being groomed and or abused.
Right,
It's not exactly a good job, but it is a job, and
right.
we're doing it outside the United States branch government. So we are mostly a non-profit.
Okay. Um, so could I put it
And
as a non-profit organization, which,
except for we are not protected by rights that organizations. We are essentially in the same boat as people like I'm sorry. We're essentially in the same boat as people like the Trevor organization, and it's essentially sad when we see children coming from India are often denied their visa and sent back because of sexual abuse being so rampant. And same with other South American countries outside Asia.
right. So just to help understand, I'm calling it as non-profit organization. helpers, which could cover the entire span of helping the women artisan through any sort of problems that they might be having. For example, if they're not able to connect with someone or to tell them that I don't have a very good home life, it could be helping them with that on a very broad level. So, this would be something which, based on what you're telling, is informal, but it's a group. So, they could probably come somewhere over here in this entire chart. Now, the second step after you do this is basically to figure out how much influence and how affected they are. So at this point, you also ask what sort of a relationship do they have with each other. So if I paste this over here, I would say that this organization would have a high influence on the woman artisan. And in the entire process of connecting the woman artisan to the consumer, they would be somewhat moderately affected. So they could possibly come somewhere up over here. So it's all a matter of asking questions and figuring out when and where, how are people affected, how are the different users affected, are they actually users, are they actually stakeholders. Another thing that we go for next is figuring out the different motivations which the users could have. In the case of the women artisans, their two major motivations would be recognition and monetary compensation. Agreed, there would also be other motivations like they want help with specific stuff, they need specific resources and things like that. But for now, I just kept it to simple two things of recognition and making money off it. And this would be what the secondary goal of the solution is. But when we look at it from the point of view of the consumer, there are a lot of other different motivations which could be there. For example, someone could want to buy a beautiful handloom sari just because it's beautiful traditional work. Or they could be buying it as a gift for someone else. Or it could be something that, is custom made, and then they can go about and they can brag about it to their friends that, I've got this custom made handloom sari from this specific place and it's very rare to get it from there, and all of those things. So could you think of any other sort of motivations a consumer would have to buy something from a woman artisan, something which is handmade?
Um, Frankly, like other than designing them something for their business or otherwise, no.
Okay. But it could be that they wanted something designed for their business.
As I said, that yes.
Okay. That's something which could possibly come over here, maybe, depending on how you see the motivation. But
For
anything else?
instance, like a custom plush or otherwise, say I'm on my entire website that I'm running for a female counseling group. It, it's not one of the things I'm doing. However, it would be among that thing
Okay.
and or a support group for trans women or women of color or otherwise, especially in the kind of times we've been having in the United States recently. Yes.
Okay. Being a part of a support group, it could be one motivation. Another could be it's related to something you're already doing. So once you come up with all these different motivations and all, you start getting a better idea of who your different users are. And then we go to kind of the next step. Just 1 second. I will just change to a different app. Now, another thing is it's not necessary that when you are doing a UX design, you kind of are using all of these different apps or all of these different steps. You might possibly just be using one, or you could actually do all of these things using pen and paper. The first time I did them, it was all pen and paper. So then this is the next thing which I created, which was let's just define the situation. So what sort of an experience are you trying to improve or change? So I took it as two things. One is ability for women artisans to easily connect with the consumers. And the second is ability for consumers to browse through multiple options and maybe customize the choice that they have. So then the thing is, post this, I kind of feel I know something about the user. Of course, because this is something I've made in a short period of time, I don't know my users, I don't know my personas that well. But just roughly for an example, I've created two personas. The first one is Adila the artisan. And I've put a picture of a Gujarati woman artisan over here. And I've said in her behaviors and her actions that great artisans are generally the ones who are elder in age. They have a lot of patience and they pay attention to fine detail. They also pass on the craft to the younger generation. And when it comes to their other details, they could be living in a rural area, low income families who require financial assistance, and they're not exactly tech savvy. They also lack the information to keep up with the market trends. They are unable to directly contact a consumer, and there are loads of times when they don't get a fair price. And whatever art or whatever pieces they're creating, that's not their only job. They have a lot of other responsibilities as well to their family, to take help out with agriculture as well. And then I've created the second persona of Chandra. And basically, Chandra is an impulsive buyer who wants to get done with their shopping really fast. He also has a tendency to annoy his wife, so he really, really needs to get into her good books right now. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen next. So now the thing is that he wants to buy a handmade sari for his wife because the anniversary is coming up. Now, being a guy, he's not exactly sure of what's in, what's not. So he's also likely to ask his mother, his sister, or his female friends for advice on how to buy it or what sort to buy. You could also say that he lives in a city, he's middle class, has a stable income, he's tech savvy, but again, he doesn't know much about women's fashion, doesn't know much about handloom or handicrafts. So there is a distinct lack of knowledge. Is there anything anyone would like to add to any of these two personas?
One thing that I would add as my experience in India, um, a lot of native handicrafts, they are on a declining scale.
Okay.
So that is one thing that has not been considered.
Right. That would come as a pain point for Adila. That
Like her children, she cannot pass those highly specific native crafts. A lot of like our native languages have died.
completely agreed. Decline in handicrafts, unable to pass it down to the next generation. Yep, that's a great point. So that's another thing which comes in Adila's needs and points. Now, the next step is to, you've got these personas. So now let's see how they are kind of going to be going on. What sort of steps are they going to take? Just because for this example, it was a online meet, I decided I would do an app. So for that, I defined some sort of stages. So considering Adila in mind, the first stage is basically signing up on the app. Now, Adila is going to be super confused at this point because she's not tech savvy. It's something pretty foreign to her. So, what sort of opportunities do we have at this stage? There could be a person who's a point of contact between whatever app is there and between the artisan. So, that person could help Adila do the entire sign up, or possibly it could be a very simple app which gives step by step guidance. And maybe that guidance doesn't have to be something on the screen which points to something. It could be a voice talking in whatever the regional dialect is. The next stage then would be she starts a new piece. So at this point, she could be happy, she could be, really elated that, hey, I'm going to start a new piece and it's a new experience for me. Now, over here, she still does have some pain points. Does she actually have the resources to start the new piece? Does she have all the cloth, the thread? Maybe if she's doing mirror work, does she have the mirrors? Does she have all of that? Can she decide on a specific design that she's going to do? Does she know what sort of a design would actually sell in the market right now? These are all things which could be her pain points. So, what are the possible things she could do over here at this time? She could request for things through the app. That's one place where we could come in. She could say that I need this cloth, I need these mirrors, I need these type of threads, or I need this wool, or I need these metals in order to create the design. Or she could also talk to a consultant who basically says that, you know, I've seen the sort of work you do and I've seen what the market right now is like. So maybe you could go and you could, make this sort of design. Or maybe instead of creating a complete sari, you could take the same pattern and you could make a bag, because I've seen that in the market, there are a lot of people who are looking at bags. Now, another stage could be that in the middle of while she's working, there could be a sort of a progress report. Now, Adila is someone who's been used to, she'll just start a piece, she'll keep working on it when she's free. And then once it's done, then she would try and sell it. But right now, she could feel that there's someone always watching her, that, she's sort of overshadowed. So then it's something which is completely unfamiliar to her. But over here again, there's an opportunity where we could do documentation. We could help show what is the artisan story and help the artisan connect with the consumer. And this would also reassure her that it's not just to keep tabs on what she's doing, but to help her in the end, because it's going to make the consumers understand what she's going through, the problems she has, and how much time and effort and love she's putting into whatever piece that she's making. Then next would be that she's completed the piece and she's going to be really happy that, yeah, I'm done with it. But then again, she's going to have the question of, how do I go about uploading this piece to the app? How do I go about selling it? Again, she's not tech savvy. It's something that she does need help with. The point of contact could come in and help again. Or again, there could be a very simple interface and there could be step-by-step guidance by a regional language, something which she's able to understand easily. Similarly, there are stages for Chandra. For example, for him, the first stage would be to sign up on the app. He could be feeling pretty ambivalent about it because he has used apps. It's not something new for him. But it could be that there are too many different apps that he could use or too many different websites he could see. So figuring out why to come to this one could be a problem. And then over here, an opportunity could be that you promote handmade stuff through the app at every point. Now, they could browse the app. So while they're browsing the app, they could possibly feel confused because of the number of choices. Um, that would be one option. Uh, how could we stop them from feeling confused? One way in which we could stop them from feeling confused is if we gave them some sort of filters. So then our opportunity comes here as filters. Then we could go on to define the next stages of choosing a piece and completing the purchase, which would follow in the same format. Post this, now we've got a really good idea of what sort of a user journey is happening and what are the sort of different things which a user would want to do. So then we could possibly go into any sort of design software like Figma, where we could start creating our screens, which don't exactly have to be high fidelity. They just need to give an idea of what we want to convey. So these are very, very basic screens that I've created. So just to flesh out these screens a little more, on the loading page, there is text, but it's not really showing what this app is doing. I'm making this app from Chandra's point of view. So Chandra has to know on the first page itself that, he's buying some sort of handloom because that's the entire thing that he wants to do. So maybe we could create a box over here. And then, so one really great thing about design softwares is that they have a lot of plugins and you can always find plugins which work for you. So for example, right now I'm looking at the Unsplash plugin and let's see, is it opening? Yeah, Unsplash plugin is opening. So Unsplash is a website from where you can get a lot of different stock images for free. So over here in Unsplash, I'll just look for a sari image. That's it. Okay, so there are a lot of different images. I could pick any one of these images. Let's say I pick this one. And it comes in my screen over here. Same way over here when I'm creating browser selection, I could say want to have a filter icon over here. So then I could possibly go look up, okay, there is Iconify. So from there, possibly find some sort of an icon which says filter. And okay, I've got a lot of different options over here. Let's see. Possibly I could take the simple one. And has it shown up in my screen yet? Okay, it's not shown up yet. Okay, now it's shown up. So now I've got my filter icon and I could place it over here, but it's black, it's not fitting in with the other colors I have. So I could just come here, pick a color. I've been using yellow in places, so let's continue using that yellow. And using all these plugins and different tools, or possibly even an old design, we could go ahead and create the entire mockup. And one of the places where we get stuck often is figuring out what sort of colors to use. It's not easy to come up with an entire color theme. So one of the things is Adobe Colors. When you open it up, it gives you this entire color wheel. But what I like doing is I like choosing a hero photo, which in this case, I've chosen this one. And then over here, I could actually go and I could look at, okay, it's picking up all these different types of colors over here. I could take one of these themes and I could edit it so that it fits in with whatever I want to make. So these are some of the steps which I could take while doing a UX process. Um, and I would be sharing the links for these later on, post this, so anyone can go and browse them. And just 5 things which at the end of this I would want you to know about design. One is that the tools and softwares are always going to change. I started off with only knowing Photoshop. Over the course, I've learned Adobe Creative Cloud. I got super comfortable in that, but then all of a sudden, someone was using Sketch and I had to give designs in Sketch, so I had to shift to Sketch. Now I've recently shifted to Figma and I've got to shift to InVision after a month or so. So your tools and softwares are, it's always going to be in flux. It might just change from project to project. You'll always be able to pick them up. If you know one, you can easily pick up another one. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Explore different types of design. I know people who've done, journalism, then they've got into lifestyle accessory design, and now they are creating UI screens. Using any sort of references, mock-ups, or referring to YouTube videos and all, anything that helps you design is a optimal use of resources. It's not cheating. For example, when you're creating an art piece, a digital art piece, and you're using like 3-4 different pictures of landscapes or something from different places, and you're combining them to sort of create this one digital piece, it's not that you are taking that image and you're directly using it. It's you're using all the different resources which are available to you. Question every single thing. Why are you doing this? Why are you creating this? Design often means no rules. In fact, there are times when you learn the rules just to break the rules. But it doesn't mean that there is no learning. You're always going to be learning something which you learned today, which is not exactly related to, you might think that it's not related to anything else you're doing right now. But somewhere down the line, there might be just a project where you need to know that. For example, I did coding last in school, but the day I had to make the game for ISC Bangalore, I did have to do some coding. So it's all a question of what's happening at that point of time.
What's your motivation to be that flexible?
Being that flexible means that I get to work on a lot of different things, a lot of different projects. It's where the problem statement of the project is something more important to me than how exactly I'm going around doing it. So, for example, I just picked this topic of connecting women artisans to consumers, but then that's something which I've become interested in now because that's an interesting problem statement. And probably I would take this ahead and I would want to do my own project about it, that this is a possible solution. So being flexible with how exactly you're going about things and all lets you pick problem statements which are close to your heart or which, appeal to you in some sort of a way. So yes, if you want to contact me regarding any doubts about design or just to have a discussion about design, that's my email address, and you could find my work over here. Additionally, all the different tools which I've shown now, I'll share. I think the links are going to be shared with you post the talk, so you can always go there and see what's going on. Any other questions? And Kiran, thanks. Yeah, it was something which I just came up with, and I like the theme, so I continued with that. Any other questions or thoughts from anyone?
Thank you, Komal. It was a very detailed and interactive session.
Welcome, Devansh. Yep, the links for everything I showed you have been shared. So feel free to go over them. You'll be able to view everything. Okay, great. So looks like there are no questions.
I had one doubt.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, uh, Usually, when you say UX UI, the designer is same most of the cases. But when you have a separate UX designer and a UI designer, so they have to work collectively, right? So how does the UI designer thinks like the thought process of UX designer? How they do work collaboratively? If you have an experience, then
Yeah, so what generally happens is that there is one person who is called the UX designer or the experience designer who maps out what the entire journey would be and who would probably go to the extent of saying that, we're going to have these many screens and this is the sort of information we are going to have on a specific screen. Okay, like for example, the person could say that once you say come to any sort of a shopping website, then these are all the different types of tabs that you would have on the screen. So then what the UI designer or what the visual designer would do is take all of this information about, what the journey is, what sort of a thing needs to be on what screen, and then visually put it all together in a manner that makes sense. They would also be the ones who would define that, say, when a user is looking at the screen, this is the sort of hierarchy in which we want their eyes to move. We want them to look at this element first, then at this element, and then this. So that's kind of how it happens. There's a lot of handoff between the experience designer and the visual designer. There are a lot of conversations to make sure that they are on the same page.
yeah. So like if I suppose want to place the filter icon somewhere, so who decides that, the UX or the UI design?
The UI designer would decide that. The UX designer would just say that in the screen, there has to be an option which would take the user to filters.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so to answer Ajit's question, what kind of problems give me the motivation to solve them? I would say any sort of problem which is very user centric, which gives an ability to help the user in the future, not just for that moment. So, for example, if in this one, if I do actually create a viable solution, then it's something which would help the woman artisan today, and it could possibly keep helping the woman artisan for a longer time. Like, I won't say forever, but say for the next 5 years, it would be a solution which helps them. So those sort of problems are the ones which give me the motivation to solve them. Or something like the IISc project, where it is understanding how the how a person thinks and how they sort of, you know, understand spaces. I hope that answers your question. Welcome. Any other questions or thoughts?
Thank you so much, Komal. It was a really interesting session. I think all of the participants might have really got insights into beautiful designs and the wonderful presentation that you made. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a pleasure having you.
Welcome.
Yeah, we would like to add it was wonderful and very lucid presentation. Congratulations, Komal, and well organized. Must compliment the organizing team too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Komal, for giving us your time. Also, I from Team Dave Cluster, we have something to share with all of you. Would you like to go ahead with it?
Hey, yeah. Hey, am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Okay, cool. Hey, everyone. We just wanted to. So, firstly, it was really great listening to the speakers speak on three very interesting topics. But one last thing that we kind of wanted to share was that we are planning on organizing a hackathon in the coming weekend, and it'll be an open hackathon with the problem statement revolving around build something for women. We originally wanted to have it this weekend itself, but for logistical constraints couldn't. So we are planning on organizing it next weekend, and it'll be a team-based hackathon, and it'll be open to both male and female. Anybody can participate, and yeah, we will be sharing more details across our socials soon. But since you guys were all here, we thought we could informally kind of announce that we are having a hackathon and give you guys a heads up. We are really looking forward to some of the amazing hacks that you guys will come up with, especially with a broad and open problem statement like build something for women. So we will be sharing the details in a day or two. So do stay tuned to our socials. And yeah, like we are really looking forward to the amazing hacks. And since you guys know that we are doing this now, I really suggest start finding a team and kind of brainstorm ideas. Yeah, so we will be again announcing the finer nitty-gritty details soon on our socials. So do stay tuned. And yeah,